Huples cat! Leaving aside the subject of the last video, which you could check out here, which actually gives the basis for the speculative theory that there actually are aliens already on the planet and that they may exist in actuality here on Earth, let us look now in the spectacular fantasy fiction, otherwise known as sci-fi. We're going to look at what would we do if the aliens came. First, who are these aliens and where are they coming from and why are they coming here? Of course, over the decades there's been many films and books written and plays even done suggesting about aliens would come to the Earth and what it would do. And it was a huge issue and it's actually percolated into people's psychology. So frankly, I think a lot of it's absolute hokum and bunkum. One of the major problems we have talking about aliens is that we are not alien, and it's very hard to put our motivations onto them, but that's inevitably what we do. It's very hard to understand what an alien motivation would be. But first off, panic. There would be no panic if aliens came. Now traditionally aliens come in one or more large flying saucers that hover without any effects on the ground below or the atmosphere around it, right above our major cities, usually mostly American cities and Chinese cities and European cities. They occasionally will throw a shot in them above the pyramids or whatever, but the aliens come in these saucers and they hang out over our major urban conurbations. The fear of the city is strong. And what do they come here for? Well, in the 1940s and 50s, mostly they seem to come here to menace our women and allow tough guys to overcome them and beat them and save the women, which is kind of an amusing one. If you think about it logically, for aliens to arrive on the Earth, they've had to travel at least 4.7 light years. A light year is an awful long way. How far is a light year? Well, it's beyond our conception because we haven't travelled anywhere near that far. But we have a few space probes that we have sent out because we're at the very beginning of space endeavour, and one of them is called Voyager, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. And you'll see from these pictures that Voyager is actually leaving the solar system. It's still technically within the solar system, but on the border of the solar system. I won't get into that. But it's so far away that this is a picture of the Earth from Voyager. And as you can see, Earth's not very spectacular from a distance. But the distance is trivial. It's hardly any distance that Voyager's travelled. To actually travel here from another solar system, from the planet of another solar system, would take you at least 4.7 light years, because that's where the nearest star is. But technically speaking, we don't just instantaneously travel at light speed and then stop. But I'll get into the technicalities of this in a second, but I'm not going to go into it too much, because I want to look at what do we do when they come. So the chance of aliens coming is very remote, because even if every solar system had habitable planets and technical societies, remember we have not had a technical society on the Earth for more than about 30,000 years in the Earth's nearly 5 billion year history, and the chances of us surviving another 5 billion years or 30,000 years seems a little remote to me, but then I'm a cynic. But if we assume that every habitable planet on every solar system has intelligent life, it would be reasonable to assume they would come and say hi. Now why would they come and where would they come from? We don't know. The chances are that they would examine radio and radar and other mechanical methods of physics to actually look for signs and symptoms of intelligent life elsewhere if they were coming to look for intelligent life. So we've been blasting out TV and radio signals for a long time. Recently we've gone kind of quiet because we've switched to cable. That'd be the other thing. Unless it's a directed and a purpose signal, it's a chance of actually picking up a signal from another solar system is pretty remote. So to know there's aliens, we have to do one of two things. We have to wait for them to come to us, or we have to go to them. So that again's always been looked upon as science fiction, and rightly so. For us to go there, it's almost as difficult as them to come here. It's actually easier because we know we exist, right? We know that we can get to the star systems if we spend enough money and creativity on it and have an awful lot of luck. It would take us hundreds of years in arc ships at the moment to actually get to any planet of any solar system other than our own. And to get to our own planets would take us years. So these aliens are coming, and traditionally the big flying saucers come here for various reasons. One of the common ones over the years has been to drain and take the Earth's planetary core. Now the Earth's planetary core is not special. Why they would come all the way here to do it, I don't know. And having come all the way here to do this, I don't know why they would pick on the Earth, because we have an atmosphere and that makes it technically harder to drain the core. So they would probably not bother coming here, I'm afraid. It's not true, to drain our core. There's lots of planets around that they could drain the cores off quite easily. They wouldn't need to come all the way to our little solar system to do it. The other one, of course, is water. For a long time, people thought they would come for our water, drain our oceans, because water was believed to be very, very scarce in the universe, as far as we could tell. We now know pretty much convincingly that water is not that scarce, and it's actually quite easy to get from your own solar system, and to come all the way here to get a large volume of water and then carry it all the way back would be incredibly difficult and very expensive and kind of totally pointless. So they're not coming for our core, they're not coming for our water. What are they coming for? As far as we can tell from spectral analysis, there's nothing particularly special about the Earth. There's no particular reason to come all this way to dig up our stuff because they've run out of it. They might technically need a very specific element that we have in abundance, but from what we can tell, our elements are way in abundance everywhere else, including oil. A lot of oil and oil type products on Titan, one of our moons of Jupiter, and other places. So there's nothing particularly special. There's no reason, economic reason, for aliens to visit the Earth. There's only one that I can think of, and this has been used in National Geographic when they did If Aliens Invade, How Do We Beat Them? And it was quite an amusing documentary because we wouldn't win. But the one thing we have in abundance that we know for a fact no other planet in the solar system has, and we don't know would exist elsewhere, is almost 8 billion pieces of meat, me and you. We do a lot of extraordinary things on the Earth in terms of cruelty and destruction of the planet to eat meat. So a meat-eating species might see 8 billion of us and think burgers. And they might come all this way to harvest us because we'd be an expensive new type of meat and we could be kind of profitable. The other thing is we tend to breed in difficult conditions quite easily, and we will examine ourselves and our lives in great detail and create marvellous things, but if we're stripped to the bone and we're treated like cattle, treated like pigs, put in little metal crates where we can't roll over and all that sort of stuff, we still breed, and we don't need much food and water. Well, we don't if we're treated abysmally. So they could actually come to harvest people to take them back to their planetary systems to grow human meat for consumption. No particular reason economically I can think of why that wouldn't be a thing. What I can't see them doing is coming here to harvest all 8 billion of us, put us in little burger packets, and Happy Burger franchise Proxima takes us back there. That'd be incredibly, again, difficult and expensive. And we do have nukes, and they don't want to radiate the meat. It'd be much easier to come, pop in, grab a few breeding specimens and drag them off. Probably nobody would be any the wiser. May have already happened, I don't know. Hopefully not. I do think a hallmark of any intelligent species is being vegan, but that's just me. So why else would they come? Maybe a spirit of curiosity. We're not that interesting. We're quite basic. We're very close to animal in terms of what we actually do and say right now. We haven't developed very much technology. We haven't gone very far. We're very impressed with what we've done, but what we've done is very little and over a quite short period of time. So any alien species coming to us would not be particularly interested in our technology other than as amusement. They're not coming to trade. The only thing, like I said, they would need, potentially, is human meat, and they would do that as breeding, and they wouldn't need to trade, they could just steal us. So they're coming an awfully long way out of curiosity. They want to study us, much as we study tribes in Africa and South America and North America. We look at people who aren't as technologically advanced as us as interesting specimens of study. So they may well want to study us, they may well want to see what we're about. Again, that wouldn't require huge spaceships, and it wouldn't involve war. But there is another factor here. They might be coming because they hate people. They hate other life. They might see us if we leave us alone for a few hundred years, we might become a threat to them. So they might come to kill us because they're genocidal. They look at people who are different, and they just want to destroy them. Now, any society like that would have huge internal difficulties if it wasn't homogenic. A society that genocidal that it would create so much wealth to actually come across the galactic distances to go to another solar system just for the purposes of destroying that life form would be very, very dangerous to itself. Any sort of difference would be bloody, all-out total civil war. So again, that's probably unlikely that they would develop the technology to come visit us if they were that genocidal. It's possible. The other reason, and again this is human beings putting our things into them, they might come to convert us to their religion. Now again, it's pretty obvious that the more technologically advanced society becomes, the more educated it becomes, the less it becomes convinced that religion requires action. It doesn't require going to church, doesn't require tithing, doesn't require all the other stuff. So you'd probably get an extremist cult, maybe, if they were wealthy enough. And by this point they're harvesting their asteroids and their other planets because they'd have to have that level of power and industrial capacity to actually build ships to come to us. So they may be coming to convert us to their religion. Now, I don't know about you, but if somebody shows up from a star system and they want me to believe in their religion, I'm probably going to believe in it. The reason being is that I don't actually believe in religion, but I don't like to die. They would be absolutely unbeatable. The analogy people have used in the past is that it's like the First Nations of North America trying to fight Europeans. Now, if we hadn't infected them with a lot of diseases, there's a good chance South America could have beaten off the initial first waves of Spanish conquistadors. But they didn't, because they were pretty much wiped out by plagues that we brought over, like smallpox and probably influenza. The scenario would be like a bunch of elephants show up and there's ants that are completely exposed on concrete in a very small area, and the elephants would just stand on them without even thinking. The power of the technology to get here would be so massive, no matter what we tried to do, including using our nuclear weapons and all the rest of it, they would just snuff us out. They would just wipe us out if we fought back. So if they come to make us part of their religion, we probably don't have much of an intellectual or emotional choice but to go along with it. Now, I know those people out there who are Christian or Muslim are going, no way, I'd never submit. But at some point your ancestors submitted. Christianity was not a religion 3,000 years ago. There was nothing close to it. And as time progressed, it developed and it took over other parts of the world and other parts of religion. So it wasn't linear. It wasn't in the beginning there was Eden and Adam and Eve believed in God and believed in Christ and believed in the Old Testament and the New Testament. That came much later. I know some people think the Earth's not that, only 6,000 years old, but honestly it's older than that. But anyways, the bottom line is that faced with an unknowable, massive, superior technological power, we have no chance. We either wipe ourselves out trying to fight them futilely, or we go along with whatever they want and just put up with it. They want to put us in zoos, put us in reserves. Our best bet is to go along with it and bide our time and then try and learn over generations what their secrets of their technology are, with a vague hope of gaining parity one day and maybe harmony, or gaining parity one day and wiping them out as well. Not a great scenario. If they visit and they have malign interests or interests against ours, we probably have zero chance to do anything about it. And I'm pretty sure pretty much all of the world's governments, when faced with such a choice, will sell us out. And it would actually be the right thing to do. Over time we might recover enough power to actually deal with this, but at the time of arrival, if we fight back, we die. So there's literally hundreds of millions, maybe billions of planets and stars in our own galaxy, and our galaxy is one of multiple hundred millions of galaxies. So the question, is there life other than life on Earth? Unless you are religious, the answer is of course there is. We just don't, it's too far away, or it's different in time from us, so we haven't seen it yet. There are aliens out there. They could, if they wish to visit us, they could if they wish to do whatever they want with us. But I think the more likely chance is small survey ships, unmanned, coming and examining us from remote sensing. And I don't know if we're that interesting to warrant a manned mission. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're not going to worry too much about aliens. This is a Cats on a Snowy Day production, 2020.